come from the eternal security camp, when you come from that idea of perspective, the idea, here's the thing, there's a hidden presupposition that a lot of people don't necessarily see, but they're always trying to leverage the idea again of the infallibilism. Well, when do you cross the line? Where have you sinned too much? What is the sin, that ends up casting you out? All of this other stuff. They try to get it to where you have to have it almost formulaic. Like they wanna hold you to this level of like absolutist specificity, which isn't even coherent really as a question to the perspective. Because it's never about like, oh, one sin too many, I'm done. It's not about that. The whole concept is of the metanoia, the change of the mind, the commitment of the heart. That is the act of being born again. Now, I hold to it more being a progressive action, which we call sanctification. I believe sanctification, which is a work of the Holy Spirit, is being born again. I don't look at it as like a singular one and done type, instant type thing. That's not how I view it. But even if you do ultimately see it as that, then you have to recognize the fact that that will be a radical manifestation to how you view the world, how you perceive things, how you make decisions, what you act upon. All of these things will change, and this is the recognition of the work of the Holy Spirit in sanctification, or making you quote unquote born again, or progressing you as born again on a progressive way, or in a perpetual state, in a preserving state, ongoing. So they try to turn it into this really hyper specific formula when which sin makes you lose your salvation? How many sins can you do before you lose? It's not about that. If your mind, if your metanoia has converted to rebellion and rejection of God, to abandonment, apostasy, going against the moral codes, prolifically serving the flesh, so on and so forth. If the mind, if the metanoia has been perverted, has been deceived, has been altered, has been shipwrecked, has been devolved, or has somehow been deviated, that's where the problem lies. And a lot of this has to do, again, with Christians being wholesale philosophically ignorant on what Christian morality actually even is. This is part of the problem. It's not about the actions. The actions flow from the mind and the heart. The actions are instantiations of the belief system that you hold. The decisions that you make will intrinsically, unavoidably be affected by the beliefs that you hold to. You can't help it. What you hold to be true, you will act upon, and you will make decisions and engage in relationships that is congruent and consistent with that, whatever you believe. If your metanoia, if your mind state switches, goes back, goes against God, moves to disbelief, moves to rebellion, moves to rejection, that's when you're in error. Not the moment of sin or difficulty or struggle or stumbling. Those little things are part of the experience that God, I believe, has given us grace for. What does it say? Where sin abounds, grace abounds more. That's what it's talking about. But grace is not intended to cover the mindset of the rebellion to God. And that's what we need to recognize and be self-reflecting on and be aware of, to be introspective about. That's the important thing, that your mind, your metanoia is complete and aligned to that which is God and the work of the Holy Spirit. That's the state of a believing individual. And then your actions, your instantiations, your choices, your relationships, they will reflect that. It'll be unavoidable. It'll be a tug on your nature and your actions to do so and to act upon it. Will you fuck up? Yeah, of course. We all will. Of course. And that is unavoidable, unfortunately, with our fallen state. But is it willful rebellion, metanoia against God, turning away from God, turning your mind from God, from his commands, from prioritizing him, from giving yourself to him, or does it align and does it stay with God? There is the line. There is the issue. There is the answer from the conditionalist soteriology. But they want to force you to itemize it. They want to make you turn it into a formula. They want to say that it's a certain number of sins, or what sin you can do and lose your salvation, and do you lose your salvation every time you sin? They ask these stupid questions because they can't possibly get their brain out of their infallibilism. They have to know. And if the other side can't present the type of absolute infallibilism that they have, they think they have a stab against us. That somehow that's their strength. That somehow the other side not being infallibilist is their problem. No, it's the other way around. It's your guys' problem. You are the infallibilists, and you don't get to turn around and try and make formulaic specifics about, absolute knowledge and try to lay that against us as if that's a problem. It's very dishonest.